Summer mornings in Maplewood Estates always looked perfect. Rows of identical mailboxes gleamed beneath trimmed hedges. Sprinklers clicked like suburban metronomes, and neighbors waved with competition hidden behind their smiles. The HOA ran everything, colors of doors, grass height, even when trash bins could breathe outside. At the cul-de-sac's edge lived Mara Collins, a modest woman who fixed leaky faucets and grew tomatoes by her porch. She wasn't fancy, but she was kind, the kind of person who lent jumper cables and never asked them back. Then Karen Bell moved in, designer sunglasses, diamond watch, a spotless white Tesla. She introduced herself as the new HOA vice president before the mail even arrived. Karen liked order, her order. One weekend, Mara found a thick orange cord trailing from her porch outlet, snaking across the sidewalk into Karen's driveway. The Tesla blinked blue, sipping current. When Mara mentioned it, Karen laughed. "It's just community energy, sweetheart. We're neighbors." The laughter burned hotter than summer asphalt. Mara unplugged the cord, but it reappeared the next day, and the next. The Tesla purred, the lights dimmed, and somewhere in that perfect neighborhood, a fuse in Mara's patience quietly popped. At first, Mara tried diplomacy. She left a note, friendly but firm. Karen responded with a sticky smile and a cupcake topped with glitter frosting, calling it peace between properties. Then came the HOA whispers. Mara's overreacting. Karen's Tesla helps the planet. Electricity's community spirit. By the next HOA meeting, Mara was on trial without a charge. Karen arrived late, heels clicking, perfume strong enough to carry authority. "Some people," she said, glancing at Mara, "don't understand modern sustainability." Laughter rippled around the table. Mara's cheeks flushed, but she said nothing. The HOA president nodded along, noting that the community should be open-minded to sharing. The motion passed, unofficially but effectively. That weekend, Karen hosted a backyard party. Guests wandered across lawns, drinks in hand. Tesla plugged proudly into Mara's porch again. When Mara unplugged it, conversation froze. Karen raised her voice sweetly. "Oh, don't worry. Mara just needs attention." Everyone laughed. Mara smiled politely, went inside, and closed the curtains. Outside, the Tesla resumed its feeding, blue pulse glowing in the dark. That night, she sat on her couch, electric meter spinning, realizing how quiet cruelty could sound when wrapped in neighborhood politeness. The next week, Mara stopped arguing and started recording. A notebook on the kitchen counter marked every hour the Tesla charged. A small camera on the porch caught cables sneaking across concrete. Numbers told stories people refused to hear. She printed photos, submitted forms, mailed complaints. Weeks passed, no response. One morning, the HOA letter arrived, matter resolved. Mutual understanding reached. Karen's understanding was simple. She could do whatever she wanted. Still, Mara's file grew thicker. Quiet neighbors began noticing their own outlets used overnight, cords slithering across fences. Some shrugged, others whispered. Mara had proof, but no voice. Each page she added wasn't revenge. It was patience hardening into resolve. By August, the HOA mailbox was stuffed with her ignored evidence. The Tesla still drank freely, and the neighborhood still smiled, pretending not to smell the burning scent of hypocrisy. Mara hadn't always been the quiet type. Before Maplewood, she'd worked 20 years as an equipment technician at a small manufacturing plant. She learned systems, how circuits thought, how mistakes burned, how balance mattered. She'd retired early after her husband's passing, trading noise for garden soil and the hum of crickets. Her garage wasn't just storage, it was her sanctuary. Shelves lined with labeled boxes, tools inherited from her father, every screw in its place. She could fix almost anything except people's arrogance. When Karen started draining her outlet, it wasn't the money that stung, it was the disrespect. Mara knew power, literal and otherwise, wasn't free. You earned it, maintained it, shared it when invited. She taught apprentices decades younger than Karen about responsibility and limits. They listened. Karen didn't. That difference lodged itself deep in Mara's chest like a splinter, small but impossible to ignore. So while Maplewood's residents scrolled through gossip threads, Mara returned to her garage, hands resting on cool metal, whispering to the quiet walls. They'll learn soon enough. Every current finds its ground. By fall, Karen's confidence had become policy. The HOA newsletter featured her photo beside an article on neighborhood harmony, her Tesla gleaming behind her. A new rule appeared. Outdoor outlets must be shared during community activities. No one defined what that meant. Mara received a citation for unauthorized modifications after installing a weatherproof cover on her outlet. Karen smiled from across the lawn. "You're welcome for the exposure," she teased. The next HOA meeting turned cold. Karen suggested adding an energy surcharge to Mara's property dues. The board laughed, but the motion stuck in the minutes like a shadow. Afterward, Mara walked home under porch lights glowing from her own current. Each bulb along the street reminded her that Maplewood's brightness came from somewhere, and no one cared who paid the bill. For days, Mara said nothing. She watered her tomatoes, swept her driveway, waved to neighbors pretending not to see her. Inside, she weighed options, complaints, lawyers, another useless meeting. None would change the culture that let theft wear a smile. She didn't want revenge. She wanted recognition, to make them see. So she began preparing, not in anger, but in clarity. She revisited her notes, cleaned her tools, and set one small, deliberate boundary. She would never endanger anyone. She'd simply let cause meet effect. When she finished, she stood in her doorway at dusk, watching the porch light flicker gently. A plan needn't shout. It only needed patience and the right moment to reveal truth in pure daylight. It happened on a Sunday. The air thick with humidity, the sky bruised with thunderclouds. Karen's Tesla rolled up, headlights cutting through the dim. Without hesitation, she marched across the lawn, dragging her extension cord like a leash. Mara watched from her porch chair, calm, silent. The cord clicked in, the Tesla blinked. For a few seconds, everything looked normal. Then a faint pop echoed, soft but sharp enough to turn heads. The Tesla's blue charge light flickered red, then dark. Karen gasped, tapping her screen, muttering blame before the storm swallowed her words. Across the street, blinds shifted, witnesses unseen but awake. Mara didn't move. She simply sipped her tea and whispered, balance restored. The rain began moments later, washing the sidewalk clean of cords. By morning, Maplewood Estates buzzed louder than cicadas. Karen's Tesla sat lifeless, towed before sunrise. She claimed sabotage, pointing fingers at Mara. Police arrived, notebooks ready, but evidence spoke softly. No broken locks, no tampering, no proof. Neighbors whispered over fences. Some pitied Karen, others chuckled behind curtains. The HOA released a statement about electrical safety awareness, careful not to name names. Karen's charm cracked under pressure. Her online posts turned defensive, blaming jealousy, small minds. Yet every thread ended with screenshots of her charging at Mara's house. Truth spread faster than gossip now. For the first time, no one defended her in meetings. The silence that followed her words was heavier than accusation. It was understanding. 2 weeks later, an independent inspector visited, sent quietly by the city. His report confirmed misuse of private electrical lines, violations of HOA code, and negligence in enforcement. The board called an emergency meeting. Karen sat stone-faced as the findings read aloud. Her Tesla repairs cost thousands. The HOA fined her for unauthorized connections. The same neighbors who once praised her now avoided eye contact. Mara attended only to return her overdue citation notice. She placed it on the table, smiled faintly, and said, "Consider this power balanced." Then she walked out before anyone could speak. By nightfall, Karen's porch light stayed off. For the first time since she'd moved in, the street felt calm, bright without arrogance. Weeks passed. Maplewood adjusted. The HOA updated its rules with clearer boundaries, and no one complained. Mara returned to her quiet rhythm, repotting plants, fixing neighbors' tools, sipping coffee under her repaired porch light. Sometimes she caught distant glances of Karen's house. Dark windows, silence heavy as apology. A young neighbor once asked, "Miss Mara, how'd you make her stop?" Mara smiled, "By showing her that taking what isn't yours always costs more than it gives." The boy nodded, not fully understanding yet. As evening settled, the hum of crickets replaced the buzz of gossip. Mara looked across the cul-de-sac, lights glowing evenly now. She whispered, almost to herself, "Peace runs better on honesty than on power." And with that, she switched off her porch light. Her world finally balanced between brightness and quiet.